singing our gathering hymn, Gather the Spirit, number 347, in the gray hymnal. The words are projected on the screen behind me.
Good morning. My name is, welcome to Horizon Universalist Church. My name is Rusty Nadel, and my pronouns are he and him. I currently serve as the treasurer of Horizon, do sound and lighting for Horizon players, and sometimes teach, sing, or play an instrument at Horizon. But this is my first time as worship associate. Today is a good day to try something new. We are excited to welcome you to our worship this morning. We are so glad to have you here with us today, whether you're joining us in person or online, whether you're here for the first time or whether you've been here for longer than you can remember. Here at Horizon, we welcome people of all faiths and faiths of no particular. Whoever you are, love, and wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome among us. As a community, we're also welcoming the shares and joys and sorrows and concerns. You're welcome to fill out a joys and sorrows slip on the table near the Welcome Center and also in the pockets of chairs on the joys and sorrows table in front of the sanctuary, or welcome to light a candle. This can be done at any time before the service or in service from the beginning through the offertory. There is one short announcement today, but please check your orders of service for upcoming announcements, activities, and events. I believe Kent Darwin's going to come up.
Good morning to you. Today is the last Sunday that James's exhibit is up. He will be here later today, and we've been fortunate to have his exhibit here since November. If you have time after the service, he'll be in the back of the sanctuary to meet you and answer questions or talk to you about his art. And most of his pieces actually has a story behind it. And then starting next Sunday, we will have a new exhibit up that I think that you'll enjoy. The subject matter, the quality of the art, and the fact that she is the niece of Ann Pettit. So, again, thank you very much for giving James some attention today. I appreciate it. Thank you.
My daughter has teased me for years about birds. We would be driving along Highway 121. There'd be a huge flock of blackbirds in a field off to the left on the side of the road, and all of a sudden the flock would take flight. Hundreds of birds flying up and out, and never once, well, at least as far as I could tell, did any one of them fly into each other. I would say, "Look, Rachel, look at the birds." Or we would be driving down Forest Lane and see 7 birds perched on the streetlight in the rain, and I would say, "Look, Rachel, look at the birds." Once I even drove down a residential street in Frisco on my way home and saw 3 buzzards just sitting on a lawn. My spirit was lifted each time with the wonder of life's rhythms and pulses, the wonder of the variety just of birds even, the beauty of the bird at rest and the bird in action. Eventually, as we drove, my daughter would grin and say, "Look, Mom, a bird." Stars in the dark of night, birds flying when it seems that all I can do is be stuck. A hug, a listening ear, a stranger or a friend. All of these have been to me gifts of the Spirit. Every day we wake, we look into an uncertain future. Who knows what will happen just getting out of bed? What I know, what I hope you know, is that some part of that day, there will be a moment that brings a smile or a hope, even for the most fleeting nanosecond. And sometimes that is enough. So today, let us join in sharing our priceless gifts and talents that bring such intangible and very real inspiration. And in doing so, let us create worship together.
Okay, I'm going to do this and we will make it work. So, the chalice lighting. In times of darkness, we stumble towards the tiny flame. In times of cold, we seek the warming fire. In times of repression, we reach for the lamp of truth.
In times of loss,
we pray for the comforting light. In times of joy, we light a candle of celebration. Spirit of life, as we kindle this light, help us find what we need this day. And now, please join me in saying the affirmation, which will be printed on the screen. Love is the doctrine of the church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in harmony with the earth. Thus do we covenant together.
now invite you to rise in body or spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place, 1008 in the teal hymnal, and the words are projected on the screen behind me. Is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, and our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we see the voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our hearts stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place. Horizon partners with MetroCrest Services to help people in need in our area. Each Sunday, you are encouraged to bring personal care products and shelf-stable food items for their pantry. You are also invited to bring items for Horizon's Little Free Pantry. If you did bring some items, go ahead and hold on to them and drop them off after services at the basket here or out in the lobby. I'm going to read a story.
Frederick by Leo Leone. All along the meadow where the cows grazed and the horses ran, there was an old stone wall. In that wall, not far from the barn and the granary, a chatty family of field mice had their home. But the farmers had moved away, the barn was abandoned, and the granary stood empty. And since winter was not far off, the little mice began to gather corn and nuts and wheat and straw. They all worked day and night, all except Frederick. "Frederick, why don't you work?" they asked. "I do work," said Frederick. "I gather sun rays for the cold, dark winter days." And when they saw Frederick sitting there staring at the meadow, they said, "And now, Frederick?" "I gather colors," answered Frederick simply, "for winter is gray." And once, Frederick seemed half asleep. "Are you dreaming, Frederick?" they asked reproachfully. But Frederick said, "Oh no, I am gathering words, for the winter days are long and many, and we'll run out of things to say." The winter days came, and when the first snow fell, the 5 little field mice took to their hideout in the stones. In the beginning, there was lots to eat, and the mice told stories of foolish foxes and silly cats. They were a happy family. But little by little, they had nibbled up most of the nuts and berries. The straw was gone, and the corn was only a memory. It was cold in the wall, and no one felt like chatting. Then they remembered what Frederick had said about sun rays and colors and words. "What about your supplies, Frederick?" they asked. "Close your eyes," said Frederick, and as he climbed on a big stone, "Now I send you the rays of the sun. Do you feel how their golden glow?" And as Frederick spoke of the sun, the 4 little mice began to feel warmer. Was it Frederick's voice? Was it magic? "And how about the colors, Frederick?" they asked anxiously. "Close your eyes again," Frederick said. And when he told them of the blue periwinkles and the red poppies in the yellow wheat and the green leaves of the berry bush, they saw the colors as clearly as if they had been painted in their minds. "And the words, Frederick?" Frederick cleared his throat, waited a moment, and as if from a stage, he said, "Who scatters snowflakes? Who melts the ice? Who spoils the weather? Who makes it nice? Who grows the 4-leaf clovers in June? Who dims the daylight? Who lights the moon? 4 little field mice who live in the sky, 4 little field mice like you and I. One is the spring mouse who turns on the showers. Then comes the summer who paints in the flowers. The fall mouse is next with the walnuts and wheat, and winter is last with little cold feet. Aren't we lucky the seasons are 4? Think of a year with 1 less or 1 more." When Frederick had finished, they all applauded. "But Frederick," they said, "you are a poet." Frederick blushed and took a bow and said shyly, "I know it." Thank you for listening.
Today's offering words come from the writing of a Unitarian Universalist minister, the Reverend Dr. Brandock L. Lovely. "Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. Thank you to our members and friends who give and pledge electronically. If you would like to give electronically, you may do so on the Breeze app or online at horizonu.org/donate. The offering will now be joyfully given and received. Thank you for your generosity, and please enjoy today's offertory, the Prelude in C minor, composed at age 19 by Sergei Rachmaninoff and played by Elliot Nadel.
Good morning. I'm Donna Deere. Anyone who knows me or sits anywhere near me during a church service knows that I am not a good singer. I do not sing well. So today, I am going to sing for you solo and a cappella. You may consider this to be the humorous portion of our service, and apparently word got out given the crowd today. I'm pretty sure that I was put after the offertory because we thought the donations would be less if I sung before the offertory. And I'm pretty sure that after today's service, no one is going to be asking me to sing in the choir. So I UU'd up the lyrics to Winter Wonderland, and we'll be singing UU Wonderland for you today. Feel free to sing along. The words there we go. The words are on the screen behind me, and you should know the music. So here we go. Our church choir sings, are you listening? Outside, no snow is glistening. We stand for what's right. We're happy and bright, walking in a UU wonderland. Gone away is hate and judgment. Here to stay is our covenant. We side with love as we go along, walking in a UU wonderland. And with Reverend Chris, we're all in unity, mostly, as we build beloved community. They'll say, are you UU? We'll say, well, yeah. You can join a committee. There's lots of opportunity. Later on, we'll be inspired as we light the chalice fire to be unafraid, the values we've made, walking in a UU wonderland, walking in a UU wonderland.
Well, and thank you. We now take time to honor the joys and sorrows of this community, knowing that we are all interconnected and that what affects one affects us all in this tangled blessing we call life. So Stephanie, Dexter's mom, says she is so thankful that Dexter is out after the hospital after a stint of kidney stones. Wow, yes. And Angela, Senior Bonavento, says she is feeling sorrow due to a recently lost relationship with my son. And we light one more candle this morning to honor all of the joys and sorrows which have gone unspoken and reside only in our hearts. And now, please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation in whatever way feels right to you, with these words from Barbara Pascan. In this familiar place, listen to the sounds of breathing, creaking chairs, shuffling feet, clearing throats, and sighing all around. Know that each breath, movement, the glance meant for you or intercepted, holds a life within it. These are signs that we choose to be in this company, have things to say to each other, things not yet said, but in each other's presence still, trembling behind our heart's doors. These doors closed, but unlocked. Each silent thing waiting on the threshold between unknowing and knowing, between being hidden and being known. Find the silence among these people and listen to it all. Breathing, sighs, movement, holding back. Hear the tears that have not yet reached their eyes. Perhaps they are your own. Hear also the laughter, building deep where joy abides despite everything. Listen, rejoice, and say, Amen.
I invite you now to join in singing our responsive hymn, When I Am Frightened, number 1012 in the teal hymnal. The words are projected behind me. When I'm frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me? Sing to me quietly. Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion, then I may learn to care as you do, to care. Will you still embrace me when I am thoughtless? Will you understand me? Will you believe in me? Stand by me willingly? Will you share some of your questions with me? If you will show me acceptance, then I may learn to give as you do. Then I may learn to give. When I am troubled, then I may learn to love as you do. Then I may learn to love.
My name is Bruce Deere. Pronouns are he, him. Unlike my better half from earlier, I will just be reading in a UU Wonderland. This is by Wendell Berry. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world and am free.
We'll have our first section of general sharing now, then the anthem, and then the second section, and we'll just skip the doxology. It's not that critical. So if anyone feels moved to come up and share something, now is the time to do so. Thank you.
No one ever wants to go first. So in case you don't know me, my name is April Barlow. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I want to share a poem with you that I actually wondered why I picked it, and it's called The Unknown Bird. So now I know why. It was written by a British poet named Edward Thomas, who was very close friends with Robert Frost. And they would take these long, rambling walks throughout the English countryside, and eventually they'd reach a fork in the road, and Edward Thomas would go, "Oh, Robert, should we take the right path or the left path?" And Robert was just like, "Just pick one." So Edward would pick one, and then they'd keep walking. He was like, "Well, I'm sure this was the better path." And this happened over and over again. It annoyed Robert Frost so much that he wrote a parody poem called The Road Not Taken. And it blew up, became totally not what Robert Frost had intended, because people took like really deep, meaningful purpose for it, including Edward Thomas, who read it and said, "Oh my gosh, Robert, I'm going to sign up for the British Army during this great war that's going on." And Robert's like, "No, that's not my intention at all. I was just making fun of you." Unfortunately, Edward Thomas was killed in action during this war. So that's why a lot of people have not heard of him. But everyone knows about The Road Not Taken, so when you read it, now you know the backstory of it. But this is Edward Thomas's poem, one of my favorites, called The Unknown Bird. 3 lovely notes he whistled, too soft to be heard, if others sang, but others never sang, in the great beech wood all that May and June. No one saw him, I alone could hear him, though many listened. Was it but 4 years ago? Or 5? He never came again. Oftenest when I heard him, I was alone, nor could I ever make another hear. La, 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 he called, seeming far off, as if a cock crowed past the edge of the world, as if the bird or I were in a dream. Yet that he traveled through the trees and sometimes neared me was plain, though somehow distant still he sounded. All the proof is, I told men what I had heard. I never knew a voice, man, beast, or bird, better than this. I told the naturalists, but neither had they heard anything like the notes that did so haunt me. I had them clear by heart, and have them still. 4 years, or 5, have made no difference. Then as now that la, la, la was bodiless sweet. Sad more than joyful it was, if I must say, that it was one or other, but if sad, 'twas sad only with joy too, too far off for me to taste it, but I cannot tell if truly never anything but fair. The days were when he sang, as now they seem. This surely I know, that I who listened then, happy sometimes, sometimes suffering, a heavy body and a heavy heart, now straightway, if I think of it, become light as that bird wandering beyond my shore. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alex Jacobson. I've been your song leader for today. I've been with Horizon for a few years. I'm going to read a couple of favorite poems by Shel Silverstein. Invitation. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoperer, a prayer, a magic bean buyer. If you're a pretender, come sit by the fire, for we have some flaxen golden tales to spin. Come in, come in. Falling up. I tripped on my shoelace and I fell up to the rooftops, up over the town, up past the treetops, up over the mountains, up where the colors blend into sounds. But it got me so dizzy. When I looked around, I got sick to my stomach and I threw down. Monsters I have met. I met a ghost, but he didn't want my head. He only wanted to know the way to Denver. I met a devil, but he didn't want my soul. He only wanted to borrow my bike a while. I met a vampire, but he didn't want my blood. He only wanted 2 nickels for a dime. I keep meeting all the right people at all the wrong times. Thank you.
Good day again. My name is Kent Darwin. I've got 2 comments that I'd like to share with you. One is about nature, and the other is an experience that I had 50 years ago this past New Year's Eve that I'll share with you. What I like to say about nature is this: nature does not lie. We know nature by its actions, and almost every day around the world we see it written about or talked about on radio and television. The second point about nature is not political, never has been and never will be. But we need people at local government, state, federal, national, international, to be an ally of nature. Nature also is not religious, never has been, and it will never be. Yet we need every religions of the world and the people that belong to those particular kind of religions to be an ally of nature. And the fourth thing, nature has its own laws. And when human beings interfere with those laws, the world suffers the consequences. So every human being around the world needs to be an ally of nature to help restore nature's laws back to the way they should have been, need to be, and will be in the future. I'd like to share with you an experience about Silent Night. This happened on Christmas Eve, 1974. It was the most beautiful arrangement of Silent Night that Kay, my wife, Susanna, my daughter, and I have ever experienced. The place was at the University of Tennessee in their old basketball field house. The seating was on the court floor, that they managed major aisles that they would need. We heard the chorale from the University of Tennessee. We heard the orchestra from the University of Tennessee to provide the entertainment for the evening. The time was twilight. The seating was on the floor as well as in the bleachers. And there was probably about 1,500 people sitting to hear this concert. The time was twilight, and when the concert began, the field house lights were dim. The concert was performed, as I mentioned, by the roughly 100 chorale members, as well as a 50-member orchestra that supported the chorale. The house was full of people on the floor and in the bleachers, and the last hymn was Silent Night. All of the members of the chorale lit candles and started, as the song began, meandering on the floor of the field house. And what was most stunning, memorable act, on the very first word of the fourth verse of the hymn, all this meandering that was going on the floor became a cross. The lights were off. It was total darkness except where the chorale made this large cross about 2/3 the length of the field house and about 2/3 across the field house, and each of the parts of the cross were 3 people deep. All of the audiences were singing with the chorale the first 3 verses. And as the 4th verse was being sung, fewer and fewer and fewer audience were singing because of the stunning confirmation and change that took place on the floor of that field house to see these 100 people walking around aimlessly through the people on the field house floor to create this cross. There was probably not a dry eye, much less a voice coming out of many, many of these people, and it has left a very lasting, positive, beautiful memory for me. Thank you.
I'll stand on my tippy toes. Hi, I'm Zeynep Çelik, and my pronouns are she, her. I have been a member of Horizon for 23 years and talked to the congregation only once before. And that was before installation of Reverend Kress. I'll read you a poem by Rumi that gave me great comfort in my times of grief. It was written in Farsi. The first time I encountered this, I encountered it in Turkish, and then in English. I'll read you the English version. The guest house. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows, who violently sweep your house, empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Rumi.
And if there are any others, moved to share, this is your time.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Sue Ridnour. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I had not planned to read anything this morning, but Eileen and I go way, way back. We taught RE to kindergartners who are probably now in their adult lives, wouldn't you say? And when she talked about birds, this poem that has been on my mind for a while came immediately to mind, and it seems to fit the theme we've got going of birds and poetry and UU Wonderland. So I'm going to share with you, I think the title is Wild Geese, and it's by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things.
So one more short story and an explanation of the fortune cookies in the back that you noticed as you came in. There's a chain of stores that I love called Big Lots. Recently I found out they're closing, which makes me very sad. One of the things I love there, they have these truffles by an Italian company called Baci. And the Baci truffles have these little wraps around them with a saying from a real person. Well, even fortune cookies are sayings from real persons, but these are attributed sayings in Italian and then in finer print in English for those of us who do not read Italian. And I found that wonderful. And there was one that I saved. It sits on my computer at work, and it says something like, in every path, we find rocks and pebbles and stones creating obstacles in our way. And isn't it marvelous how many beautiful things can be built out of those rocks and pebbles and stones? I thought about truffles, and instead there are fortune cookies, because sometimes the word that you need doesn't come from the person sitting next to you or the radio announcer or the television. It comes in some humble way, like the fortune cookie, from someone you may never know. I was not supposed to do this. Yeah, he's right, it always happens sometime. All right, so today's chalice extinguishing is a little different. Hopefully it works slightly better than the chalice lighting, because hopefully we have the slides for it. But there's a responsive reading from a book called Lifting Our Voices, which is not in the sanctuary. Just in case it doesn't work, Alex, could you stand at the other and be the other part? Oh, yay. All right, so our time together is finished, but our work is not done. May our spirits be renewed and our resolve strengthened as we meet the challenges of the week to come. This chalice flame is extinguished until we ignite it again, the spark of our communion. And now we extinguish the flame, but not our commitment to Horizon's mission to welcome radically, love boldly, grow spiritually, and serve courageously. We do this because We envision a beloved community filled with compassion, helping all to thrive in a just world.
I invite you to rise in body and spirit and join us singing in our closing hymn, Love Will Guide Us, number 131 in the gray hymnal. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, inside us will lead the way. Like angels, if you cannot speak the thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change love, move with love. Guide us, Jesus, guide us, hope inside us. Will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Thank you for coming out today and for bringing friends and family and for sharing your gifts. And may 2025 be a happy new year for everyone. I believe it can be simply because of the efforts each of us makes every day to make our world a better place.
One last quick announcement. If you would like to adopt any of the remaining poinsettias, please come up to the chancel and take one home after the service. They are free to any good and loving home. Love offerings to support the Flower Fund are not required and always gratefully accepted.
And today's recessional is Come Sing a Song With Me. Although we do not normally sing the words to the recessional tune, you're invited to join in singing these words. Afterwards, please stand and take a minute to say hello to someone around you, especially someone whom you may not know. Song with me, come sing a song with me, come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love that grows in the winter time. Dream a dream with me, come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me, come walk in rain with me, come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me, come share a rose with me, come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a grows in the winter time.
Thank you all for coming and sharing and making worship together. Have a fortune cookie.